Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Papa, play Ganesh game.
Atha Chaturthodhyayah. Shri Text 1. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha. Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanahamavayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manurikshvava Vebravit.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku.
Text 2. Evam parampara praktam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yoge nashta parantapa.
This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the Sanitili kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost.
Text 3. Sa evayam mayatedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaduttamam.
That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of the science.
Text 4. Arjuna uvacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha katametat vijaniyam tvamado proktavaniti.
Arjuna said, the sun god Vivasman is a senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him?
Text 5. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam veta parantapa.
The personality of Godhead said, many births, both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you can't. Oh, subduer of the enemy.
Text 6. Ajopi sanna vyatma bhutanamishwaropi san prakritim swamadishtaya sambhavamyatmamayaya.
Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form.
Text 7. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyuktanam tadatmanam srijamyaham.
Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant Bharata, and the predominant rise of a religion, at that time I discern myself.
Text 8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
To deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium.
Text 9. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna.
One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not upon leaving the body, take his body again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
Text 10. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashrita bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhava magata.
Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me.
Text 11. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha.
As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Partha.
Text 12. Kangshanta karmanam siddhiyajanta iha devata kshipram himanushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja.
Men in this world desire success in futile activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men can get results from futile work in this world.
Text 13. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha tasya kartaramapi mam vidya kartaramavyayam.
According to three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am a creator of this system, you should know that I am yet no doer, being unchangeable.
Text 14. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha iti mam yo bijanati karma bhirna sabadhyate.
There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work.
Text 15. Evam jnatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshibhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvai purvataram kritam.
All the liberated soul in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps.
Text 16. Kim karma kima karmeti kavayopyatra mohitah tatte karma pravakshyami yajnatva mokshyase shubhat.
Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune.
Text 17. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi.
The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is.
Text 18. Karmanya karmaya pashyet akarmani cha karmayaha sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayukta kritsna karma kritu.
One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is an intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities.
Text 19. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaah jnanagnidagda karmanam tamahu pandita buddhaah.
One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is to devoid of desire for a sense of gratification. He is set by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge.
Text 20. Tyaktva karma phala sangam Nityathripto nirashrayah karmanyabhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha.
Abandoning all attachments to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings.
Text 21. Nirashiryate chittatma vyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvanapnoti kilbisham.
Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions and acts only for bare necessities of life. Thus, working, he is not affected by sinful reactions.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. That was such beautiful recitations. Honestly, I could just go on listening. Madan Prabhu, your Sanskrit is really, really nice. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mitra
Mataji.
Mataji. Very nicely recited. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, devotees, for coming. Of course, it is the first day of Karthik. So hopefully a lot of you may have even visited the manor to offer candles. If you haven't as yet, then please do so. You can offer candles every morning and evening, and it's just so beautiful. So please do visit the manor, and happy Karthik month to all of you. If we have the time, we will speak a little bit about Karthik month. Let's see how it goes. So we are going to continue our discussion on chapter 4. Just give me a minute and I'll share my screen. I hope you all can see.
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Right, okay. So here we are. So we are on chapter 4, and today we're going to discuss the verse 3. Very, very important verse in order to understand Bhagavad Gita. So verse 4.3, we'll just recite it. Sa eva yammaya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam hi itad uttamam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That very ancient... Sorry, was somebody saying something? That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Does anybody want to read the purport today?
Yes, please, Mataji, may I?
Yes, who is this?
Naina?
Yes, please, Mataji, go ahead. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. There are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. The Lord selected Arjuna as the recipient of this great science, owing to his being a devotee of the Lord. But for the demon, it is not possible to understand this great mysterious science. There are a number of editions of this great book of knowledge. Some of them have commentaries by the devotees, and some of them have commentaries by the demons. Commentation by the devotees is real, whereas that of the demons is useless. Arjuna accepts Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and any commentary on the Gita following in the footsteps of Arjuna is real devotional service to the cause of this great science. The demonic, however, do not accept Lord Krishna as he is. Instead, they concoct something about Krishna and mislead general readers from the path of Krishna's instructions. Here is a warning about such misleading paths. One should try to follow the disciplic succession from Arjuna and thus be benefited by this great science of Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you. Thank you, Naina Mataji. Thank you. Before we continue, we'll just say our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Okay, so let's look at this verse. There's going to be quite a bit of philosophical things to understand today. So, but we'll try our best and see how we can take it, because this is a very important verse to understand the Bhagavad Gita, because it is talking about the science of relationship, right? So here, Bhagavan Shri Krishna is describing the science of the Bhagavad Dharma. And what he's saying is that this is a mystery, rahasyam. It is a rahasya. And indeed, this is a very, very great science. And this science is about Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says this, that Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining different kinds of material sciences. Like in the verse 7.4, he says how earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all together, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. And we all know when we study these, we are studying physics and chemistry and biology, and we are studying the mind and intelligence, that's psychology. So we are studying all these. But at the same time, Krishna says that there is, besides this, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Now, to understand this, the eternal nature of the soul and its relationship with the Supreme Soul, that is the highest, most inclusive, and the most important of all sciences. So that is why Krishna is saying over here that this is a science, but this science is a rahasya, and it cannot be easily understood. Yeah, not everybody can understand this science. And Prabhupada in his lecture goes on to explain, sorry, this is not Prabhupada, this is His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. He says, our senses are gross material elements, and our mind, intelligence, and ego are subtle material elements. And that which is material has no access into what is beyond the realm of material existence. The soul is transcendental, and God, the supreme controller, is supremely transcendental. So why I'm stressing on this point again and again, that it is very, very difficult to understand this science, as is being said in the verse, that this is mysterious, it is not easy to understand this. But then Krishna says, who can understand it? Yeah. So let's see what he says next. Yeah. So now Krishna is speaking to Arjuna about this great science, right? He says this is an ancient science of the relationship, but I'm going to speak to you. He has spoken this science in the past also, as you must have seen in the previous couple of verses, that this is not something new. It's not something that has been manufactured. It is ever existing, but sometimes when, for whatever reasons, when this disciplic succession is broken and this knowledge is not, because the knowledge is ever existing, but it has not been passed on. So Krishna himself appears to speak about this great science. And this is not revealed to everybody. So here Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. Why? Okay, we'll look more deeper into this aspect. Arjuna is a devotee, and he is also Krishna's friend. And that is what Krishna says here. I'm telling you because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and therefore you can understand this. Very important to understand this aspect, because sometimes we read it, but we don't really absorb it. Now, think about it. Duryodhan saw the universal form of Krishna even before Arjuna saw it on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. If we read our Shastras, when Krishna went to the court of Duryodhan to appease him, to speak to him, and to make him understand that this war is not the right thing to do and he must avoid fighting, and he was willing to he said, even just 5 villages for the Pandava brothers, then they'll be fine. And at that time, Duryodhan was not ready to listen to Krishna. And Krishna showed one form, his universal form, not in its entirety and not the way it was revealed to Arjuna, but he did show his universal form to Duryodhan. But even at that time, Duryodhan thought that Krishna is just a mystic yogi and he's just showing me some of his powers, So the question here is, and there is a verse in our scriptures where it says, when Krishna is trying to explain to Duryodhan, about the right and wrong, about, what should be done and what should not be done, Duryodhan actually says, I know what is right, but I'm not able to practice it. And I know what is wrong, but I'm not able to keep away from it. I act as if I am being directed by some mysterious power. Have we heard something like this in our Bhagavad Gita also? Can anybody remember? Have we heard something like this in Bhagavad Gita? Anybody? No? Okay, I'll bring this up. So,
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
yes.
Is it something Arjuna was saying?
Yes, you're so right.
You just put it that, yeah.
Yes, Venkat Prabhu. It is. So Arjuna also says the same thing to Krishna. See, he says, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? Right? So Arjuna is also repeating the same thing what Duryodhan is saying. Now, what is the difference? The difference is that because of the arrogance that Duryodhan has and the ego that he has, he is not willing to come to Krishna and ask questions, get enlightened. He does not want to do that. You see, he is not willing to accept authority. He's not willing to realize that there is something that he does not know and that he must try and understand why this is happening. He knows that something is happening, but he's not willing to correct it. Now, isn't it true that so many of us also do the same thing in our lives? We know what is wrong. We know that we probably should not be doing this, but we still end up doing it. Isn't that right? A lot of us, I mean, I'll give the examples of something very severe. Maybe we don't do that, but like teenagers, they know that, drinking or smoking or all of that is not good for our health. Doctors, medical professionals who are studying this day in and day out, how harmful it is. And it has been said that so many doctors are, they smoke and they are sometimes chain smokers. Is it not that they don't know how harmful this is? So we do know the wrong and right, but we are compelled to still do it, So unless we come to this humble position where we are willing to accept authority, where we are willing to ask questions and see how we can correct ourselves, we will not be able to go on the right path. So here Arjuna is willing to humble himself. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna is asking Krishna all these questions, about his mind, about his emotions. Why is he going through all these things? Humbly asking all these questions. So like Prabhupada, like Krishna is saying, that Arjuna can understand this science because he is a devotee. So the only qualification that we need is that we should become devotees of the Lord. That's the only qualification. There's nothing else that is needed. So now, Prabhupada many times, and I'm sure a lot of you must have heard this in many of his classes, even in his purports, he talks about this thing, that there are two ways of acquiring knowledge. I'm sure you all must have heard this. So there is this two ways of acquiring knowledge. One is the inductive way and the deductive way, or sometimes also known as the ascending way and the descending way, right? So let's take an example that any knowledge that we need, like even when we need material knowledge, we are getting the knowledge through disciplic succession, if you think about it. Otherwise, why do we become disciples? A student going to a school or college is a disciple, right? We are all becoming disciples because we know that, this is the knowledge that is right for us for our material life. Like, students do internships, apprentice, all of that, because they are receiving that knowledge from the correct authorities, right? And that is why we go to these places. So, but then there are now two ways of receiving this knowledge. Like we said, inductive and deductive. Now, as the example says, deductive is that, the conclusion is there. It's like, there's a conclusion, you just accept it. Like when we say that all men are mortal, right? All men are mortal. A person who has this inductive kind of reasoning, when we take the same example that all men are mortal, his idea, he wants to actually experiment it. So he wants to observe, are all men really mortal? So his experiment is going to be, okay, man 1 has died, man 2 has died, man 3 has died. So he is going to do that kind of experiment before he comes to the conclusion. Okay. Whereas in deductive, you've been given this information and you take this information that yes, all men are mortals. Now, inductive process has got defect, because think about it. If this man wants to experiment that, okay, man 1 has died, 2 has died, 3 has died, his sampling size is limited, isn't it? His sampling size is limited. So his experiment is limited. His experience is limited. So with limited experience, sampling size, and experiment, how can you get perfect knowledge? Whereas a deductive reasoning, that knowledge has been established already, you see? So you just take it and you accept it. Vedic knowledge is like that. In Vedic knowledge, it comes through disciplic succession and you accept it. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that there is nobody greater than me and everything comes from me, right? Now, this is a knowledge that has been given to us. there is no experiment that you can perform to find this out. So you just accept this kind of knowledge, right? Now, again, in the Vedic system, there are three kinds of proofs that you want. Like we said, that this is a science. So try and understand it from this scientific point of view, that, there is a way of getting the knowledge. There is a way of establishing the truth. So this proof is that you have direct perception, there is conjecture, or there is accepting the authoritative words, which is known as, in Sanskrit, it's known as Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman, and Shabda Praman. This is how Prabhupada explains it. While I was doing research, there were some other ways also, and in fact, it shows 6 ways, but Prabhupada speaks about these 3 ways. So we will try and understand these 3. So there's Pratyaksha Praman, there is Anuman, and Shabda Praman. I hope everybody is with me. I know it is a little bit of a philosophical topic today, but I've made it really, really simple. So I'm sure you all will, by the end of this, you will get it. So Pratyaksha Praman is direct perception. Like you can see me via this Zoom. I know we are not live, but you can see me. I can't see all of you, but I could see Mohan Prabhu and Meera Mataji when they were reciting. So this is direct perception. I can see you, you can see me, that's direct. Okay, got it, understood. Pratyaksha, you can see it, so understand it. Then there is Anuman. Like, right now I'm sitting here, and let's say, in the back garden of my neighbors, there's some sound, there's music, there's, I can hear some children. So I am thinking in my mind, I am, it's establishing in my mind, okay, there are children playing, right? Because I can hear all these things. And then the final is the Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman is where, like we looked at the earlier example, that man is mortal. For that, you can't do a Pratyaksha Anuman because you can't even guess like that. So it's Shabda. It has been established. It has been said that man is mortal. And so you've accepted it because it has been coming for God knows how long. Because man being mortal is not something that has happened now or 100 years back or 200 years back. No, it's been there since man has been there. And we don't know since when man has been there, right? So like that. So there are 3 ways. Now, as we understood that direct knowledge can be imperfect. As an example, think about it. When we look at the sun, because the sun is so far away, when we look at the sun, what we can see is just like a disc. It's almost like, a disc, a dinner plate looks like that from where we have our meals. But when we hear the scientists who have performed various experiments, and they tell us that, the sun is so huge and whatever, we accept it. Us day to day, we don't question the scientist, or we don't ourselves are performing these experiments. We are accepting what is being told to us by authoritative sources. Even in our day-to-day life, if you think about it, what is the news that we read? When we read, let's say, we've just read a news that somewhere in a far off village in Russia, this has happened. Now, I don't have any direct perception because I'm not going there. I have no anuman to it. I can't guess because, I don't know what's the background information that's been given to me. So what am I doing? I'm accepting the Shabda. And I agree that in today's world, one has to be so careful because there is so much of fake news. We've all heard this in between in India a couple of months back. The fake news that was spreading via WhatsApp was something that the government had to kind of step in to see what they could do. So there is fake news. And that is why one has to accept only from the authority. The authority has to be perfect. If the authority is not perfect, then the news is not perfect, right? So what we've understood is there is this ascending process and descending process. But what we need to understand is one is an experience of love. You know, we cannot attain the Lord, we cannot attain the love of Lord by our mental and physical capacity. We cannot. That's not possible. But if we take the authoritative sources, understand what the Shastras are telling us, what our acharyas are telling us, what the Guru is telling us, and then if with that pure desire just to please Krishna, if we approach Krishna, then Krishna, because he is in everybody's heart, he says Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam. He says to Arjuna, isn't it, that he is in everybody's heart. So then he understands. He understands and he will reciprocate with our honesty and our sincerity. That is what Krishna sees, right? Krishna only wants to see our honesty and our sincerity. So like we are discussing that, why did Krishna give this knowledge to Arjuna? So we saw the first two reasons was because he is a devotee and he's a friend. And here we have the other two reasons, that this knowledge is a secret knowledge. It's not revealed to anybody and everybody because everybody will not understand it. Even if it is revealed, everybody will not understand it. So that's why it is a secret knowledge. And because it is so mysterious, it is rahasyam, it cannot be taught by anyone other than me, that is Krishna himself, or by those in the disciplic succession. This knowledge cannot be spoken by anybody except for people, except for acharyas and gurus who have understood it, who have realized it, and that is why they can share it with others. I'm sure in the previous verses of this chapter, the other esteemed speakers must have spoken about the disciplic succession and all of that. So I won't go into detail. And we have discussed it many times on these sessions. So Krishna is saying that by becoming my humble, submissive devotee, one can understand me as I am. And we've already seen the example how Arjuna was a submissive devotee and Duryodhan was not. And thus, although they both were having similar kind of experiences, one could see the Lord for who he is, whereas the other still could not, right? And here we will, as usual, we have to have a story in the session. So we have one story here. So this is the story of the wives of the Brahmanas and how they achieve perfection. I'm sure quite a few of you may know the story. For some, it may be new, but this is a very beautiful story where you will see how just by being submissive devotees, Krishna reveals himself to you. So once Krishna, Balaram, and the cowherd boys, all his friends, as usual, which is what they do in their day-to-day activities, were out with their calves, herding the calves and taking them out. And they would spend the entire day like this, taking the cows for eating grass and whatever else and playing games. They would spend their time playing games and looking after the calves and cows. So once when, this was going on, the cowherd boys, they were very, very hungry. And they approached Krishna and Balaram. See, the residents of Vrindavan, they only had one shelter, and that was Krishna. Whether it was a little or big problem, they only knew one thing, and that is to approach Krishna. If we approach Krishna and Balaram, we will get the answer. We will have the solution for it. Somewhere, somehow, we should develop that consciousness where we can just approach Krishna for anything in our lives. And that will be the best consciousness that one can have. So anyways, so the cowherd boys went to Krishna and Balram and they said, we are very, very hungry. So Krishna said, just close by, there are these brahmanas who are performing very great yagyas. Go to the brahmanas and tell them that, I have sent you and that you are very hungry, and can they give you some prasadam to eat, because they are performing yagyas, so they have everything with them. So the cowherd boys happily went to the brahmanas. They, they begged at their feet, because brahmanas, very elevated personalities. Brahmanas are the higher ups in the society, and they were performing yagyas. They said, we're very hungry. Krishna and Balram have sent us here. Can you please give us some food? Right? And the brahmanas refused. They were busy performing their yagyas. And they did not want to interact with these cowherd boys. They were like, don't disturb us when we are trying to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are trying to please the Lord. Don't interfere and don't interrupt with our rituals that we are performing. You see? So the boys came back disheartened and more hungry, and came back to Krishna and Balram and said, this is what has happened. They refused. So Krishna said to them, it's okay, don't worry, don't get disheartened. Go back and this time approach the wives of the brahmanas. And then that is what the cowherd boys did. They went to the wives of the brahmanas and they requested them, we are hungry. Krishna and Balram are hungry. They are in the forest, they are very hungry, and they've asked for some food. And as you can see from this image, all these wives of the brahmanas they have not studied scriptures, they were not adept at reciting various shlokas from the Vedas or performing different kind of yagyas. They were simple housewives, just performing their household activities. But they had heard about Krishna. They had heard so much about Krishna, and just by hearing, they had developed this deep attachment. And when they heard that Krishna and Balram are hungry and the cowherd boys are hungry, they stopped all their activities, whatever they were doing, and they got all the bhoga, all the food immediately for the pleasure of Krishna. And when this happened, obviously, in return, Krishna has given them complete deep understanding and love and devotion for himself. You see? So this is what we need to understand, that Krishna says that it is not somebody who is a great scholar, who knows all the Vedas and the shlokas and can perform various ritualistic activities. It is not that person who has devotion. He may have it. It's not that he cannot have it. But devotion is something where you are willing to do anything and everything for the pleasure of Krishna. That's all. Nothing else but the pleasure of Krishna. All of us inherently have the natural love for Krishna. We just need to rekindle it, reawaken this natural love that we have, because we all are part and parcel of Krishna. So this I have taken exactly from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj's lecture, because I thought it was so beautiful that I would not be able to express it the way Maharaj expresses it. So Maharaj says the Lord reciprocates always with the love of his devotees, but it can only be understood by one who has sacrificed his heart for the pleasure of the Lord. And of course, Krishna is explaining that this great mystery is very, very easy to understand for one who is willing to accept the position of bhakti. You see, we've seen Krishna is saying this is a rahasya, but Arjuna, you will understand because you're my devotee and my friend. And then Maharaj continues that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during his divine Leela, he revealed to us the means of becoming such a pure devotee. How one can become a pure devotee. You see, we have got the goal where we have to get, We have also got the path, how we can get to the goal. The only thing that is stopping us is that we are not practicing it. So it says here that to always humble oneself before the Guru and the Vaishnavas, and in their divine association, learn how to receive the supreme benediction for all humanity, the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And through this process, Krishna personally, from within the heart, cleanses all unwanted qualities and awakens that pure devotion from within, what is the means and the ways of the supreme realization of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So very clearly, very simply, Mahaprabhu is giving us the process. All that he is saying is that just understand, just realize that just by chanting the holy name of Krishna, by humbling oneself in front of the Gurus and the Vaishnavas, just by purely chanting the holy names of the Krishna, one can develop devotion, which is the only requirement to understand Krishna. There is absolutely no other requirement. You do not need to be very, very intelligent, very knowledgeable, very rich, very well versed in the verses or shastras, or know how to perform ritualistic activities. No. All you need is to love Krishna. To love Krishna, to have bhakti for Krishna, to want to please Krishna under all circumstances. And then Krishna will reveal himself. So I'll stop here, because what I'm hoping to do is we can maybe talk a little bit about the Karthik month, but that is after we have question answers on this verse, and then we'll speak about the glories of the Karthik month. So any comments, corrections, or questions? Anybody? No? No questions? That's good. Has everybody understood this verse then? Happy?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Thanks.
Krishna Mataji.
Actually, you gave a very good explanation. I'm really happy to know. There is one question.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we do the activities and we think we will please Krishna, but what if we think we will please Krishna by this activity, and actually it is like our own thinking, but maybe the Krishna is not happy with it. So how do we know?
That is why, Seema Mataji, in the last slide, I said the best way is to always try to perform your activities under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras. So these three things should be with you at all times. So if you are not sure about something, speak to your Guru. And when you say Guru, it does not mean that only your Diksha Guru that you're initiated with is your Guru. Any senior devotee, disciple who you are comfortable with, that's why we say Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So there is Sadhus, there are saintly people, whom you can ask these questions, and then you have your Shastras. You can always read the books. You can always associate with Srila Prabhupada through his lectures, read what he is saying about activities, and that way then you know that you're doing the right thing.
I see.
Yeah?
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There is a question on the chat from Surabhi Mataji. In the disciplic succession, the earliest students of Srila Prabhupada could understand his divine knowledge at the deepest soul level. Is there a chance of slight dilution, not in text, but perception? Surabhi Mataji, at the end of the day, it is spiritual understanding and spiritual path is quite individual. So what you're saying is the perception of, even if you think that it may have changed, not in the text like you're saying, not in the text, but how people view it. Our sannyasis and the gurus that we have are following everything word to word as per Srila Prabhupada. And if you read about ISKCON, one of the things about, how do you recognize one is a guru and how do you recognize that he is right? for you is that the Guru will not dilute anything. He will say exactly as is, as his previous acharyas have spoken, and as the Shastras is speaking. And that is the identification of a Guru. Yes, it may happen in the wider congregation, because that, it may happen because we all have our own conditionings. But the knowledge that is being passed on through the authoritative sources, there is no dilution. And that is the way you recognize that this is the correct knowledge, because there is no dilution. I hope that answers.
No, yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. If not, then just about Karthik month, I believe the other speakers also must have spoken about it, but just so you know that this is a very, very, very special month. And in the Skanda Purana, it says that as Satyug is the best of yugas, as the Vedas are the best of scriptures, as Ganga is the best of rivers, so Karthik is the best of months, the most dear to Lord Krishna. There are so many verses from various scriptures which talk about the glories of Karthik month. And what it is in this month, it's almost like whatever devotional activity that you're doing, you will get the benefit 1,000 times. And that is why it is said that, whatever you want to do, try and do it in the Karthik month with a prayer to the Lord that please help me and guide me. And if possible, try to increase your activities. If you've been doing something already in the past, so maybe like if you're chanting, let's say, 4 rounds or 8 rounds, see if you can increase it, just because it is Karthik, it is the best month to please Krishna and to please Radharani. So try and increase your devotional activities. If you're, like I said, if you're chanting, then, chant more. One of the important things that is done in this month, during this month, is offering lamps to Radha Yashoda Damodar. So Bhaktivedanta Manor has this facility where you can go to the temple morning and evening every day and offer lamp to Yashoda Damodar. And it's said that when one offers lamp, let me just read, it says somewhere. It says that it's specifically in the month of Damodar, one should daily worship Lord Damodar and give charity and follow a fasting vow. And then it says, I'm just looking for where it talks about the lamp. Yeah, it says here, among all 12 months, the month of Karthik is dear to Lord Sri Krishna. If somebody performs a little worship of Lord Sri Hari in this month, he offers that devotee his own abode. This statement is true. It is from the Padma Puran. The statement is from the Padma Puran. So that is why, if you are able to, then it is amazing to, increase your devotional activities. The other thing that a lot of devotees do is sing the Damodar Ashtakam. I don't know if all of you are aware of it, or are there people who have not heard of the Damodar Ashtakam at all? You can just unmute yourselves and let me know if you've not heard.
I haven't heard. Sorry, I haven't heard.
You haven't heard. Is there anybody else who hasn't?
Yes, Mataji, I haven't.
You haven't. Okay. What we'll do is, because we have finished a little early today, so I'm just going to bring up this beautiful Damodar Ashtakam on the screen. And it is the first day of Karthik, so rightfully so, we can just sing the Damodar Ashtakam. Just give me 1 minute while I just look for it. I wasn't sure how it'll go, whether I'll have the time for this or no, but now that I have the time, of course, devotees who are, who need to leave, I totally understand, and you're more than welcome to leave. So this is the Damodar Ashtakam, which is sung while we are offering candles. And if you can sing this for Lord Krishna every day during the month of Karthik, it's a beautiful song and he's very pleased by it. So the lyrics are here. I'm just going to sing it. I don't have any kartal or anything. I'm just going to sing it for you so you can hear it. It's just beautiful. Namamishwaram Sachitanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Prajamanam Yashodabhiyolukalatabhamanam Param Rishtam Atyanta Todritya Gopya Rudantam Muhurnetra Yugmam Rijantam Karam Bhoja Yugmena Satam Kanetram Muhushvasakam Patri Rekankakanta Stita Graivam Damodaram Bhaktibadam Idi Triksvalila Birananda Kunde Swagosham Nimajantam Akhyapayantam Tadiyeshitagneshur Bhakterjitatvam Punha Prematastam Satavriti Vande Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Badimba Nachanyam Vrineham Varishadapiha Idam Teva Puranatha Gopala Balam Sada Me Manasya Virashtam Kimanye Idam Te Mukham Bhojam Atyantanile Vritam Kuntalai Snigdha Raktascha Gopya Muhushchumbitam Bimba Raktadharam Me Manascha Virashtam Lakshalabe Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Prasida Prabho Dukha Jalabdimagnam Kripa Drishti Vrishyati Dinam Batanu Griha Nishamam Agnyamedhyakshi Drishe Kuveratma Jaubhakta Mrutyaiva Yatvat Tvaya Mochita Bhakti Bhajau Kritau Cha Tatha Prema Bhaktim Swakam Me Prayacha Namokshe Graho Me Stidhamodareha Namaste Studamne Spuradipti Dhamne Tvadiyodharaya Tha Vishwasya Dhamne Namo Radhikaya Tvadiyai Priyaye Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this Damodar Ashtakam is sung every day, and what we are celebrating in this month is, this is the pastime that happens when Krishna, he's being nursed by his mother, and but she has also put a pot of milk, which is boiling over, and this is a special milk that she wants to use to make various kinds of things to offer to Krishna. And so now this milk is boiling over, so she puts Krishna down and she runs to take this pot of milk out so that it doesn't fall. And Krishna is very upset about this, and because he's angry and upset, what he does is he runs away from there and he breaks all the pots of butter that Mother Yashoda has hung. Now, seeing this, Mother Yashoda is very, very upset because she's thinking, today is a festival day, it's Diwali, and I have got so much work in the house. I don't have time to, look after Krishna, and he is so naughty and he's going to get into trouble. So what she decides to do is she wants to tie him up to this wooden grinding mortar. She wants to tie him up there. And she, gathers all the, she gathers this rope from her house. It's not like a rope which will, harm his skin or whatever. But she gathers this soft rope which is used to tie, cows. and she tries to, bind him with this rope. And then she finds that, the rope is falling short. So then she tries it again. She's trying to again get some extra rope and whatever else, and so that she can tie him. So she tries to get more rope from wherever, get all the rope from the house, like, because slowly she's getting all the ropes from everywhere. She's getting it. And no matter how much she's trying, the rope is always falling short. Every time it's falling short. So now she doesn't know what to do. And by the time all the other gopis have gathered around, and they're seeing what Mother Yashoda is doing. So what they say to her, we'll also help you. We'll get ropes from our house. Everybody is getting these ropes from the house, I'm just trying to look for an image. So this is the image, where Mother Yashoda is trying to tie him. So anyways, she's all the gopis have helped her. They've all got the ropes, and she's tying all the ropes together and still trying to tie Krishna. And every single time the rope is falling 2 fingers too short, just 2 fingers. And our acharyas explain that these 2 fingers signify, one is your endeavor and one is the mercy of the Lord. So you can get devotion, bhakti, or anything in life by your endeavor, but without mercy you can't. So these 2 always go hand in hand. Yes, sometimes it's just the mercy and you just straight away just get mercy. That happens, but otherwise you have to endeavor. So this story signifies that. And this month we are celebrating, besides this, there are other lots of very wonderful festivals in this month. Of course, Diwali is also in this month, and other festivals. But this is what it signifies. And this Damodar Ashtakam we are singing. So this description of how Krishna, after breaking the pots, is running. And when he's running, his shark-shaped earrings are moving to and fro. And Yashodama is running behind him. And the flowers from her head are falling, and her sari is getting loosened up. So this is the image. The prayer is that let this image be in my heart forever, because fear personified is fearful. So that is what this song signifies. There is another question from Surabhi Mataji. This is an informative science. Science needs proof. Anyone seen the soul? So Surabhi Mataji, like we just discussed, that yes, it needs proof, and there are 3 kinds of proof: direct perception, or conjecture, anuman, or shabda praman. So that the last type of proof, which is the shabda praman. Like, for example, if you're saying that, okay, has anybody seen the soul? Has anybody seen the sun? As in, gone to the sun, done the measurements, seen how really hot it is, how many years back it came, what is the size of the sun? Has anybody seen it? So when we are willing to accept what the scientists, sorry?
The third one is what you said?
Shabda Praman.
So those are the scriptures?
Those are the words of the authoritative sources.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
same way, like, we've not seen the sun, but we are taking the words of the authoritative sources in this material world. So if we are willing to accept those authorities, then same way we should be willing to accept Krishna, who's telling you in the scriptures, right? If that makes sense.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Shall I request you one thing, Hare Krishna?
Yes, yes.
You sing so nicely. So can we get
Yeah,
just audios? You sing only, and then audio. So when we are doing the prayers, we can sing according to what you have sung.
Yes, sure, Mataji, I can do that. But on our groups, we have got almost 250 people, and we've got 3 groups like this. So I wouldn't want to, disturb all of them with my singing. Some people may like it, some people may not. So is it possible that you can give me your number and I will private message you the recording whenever I can? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can just either, if you want to, my number is on the group. If you're okay with, sending me a direct message, I can do that.
Divya Mataji, Divya Gaurungi Mataji also has my number.
What is your name, Mataji?
Urmila Ben. Mukund Hari Prabhu also.
Okay. I know.
Sometimes me I've been.
Okay, okay. I have written your name down and I will try and send the recording to you.
Yeah, Mukundhari Prabhu, Avinash Prabhu.
Okay, okay, okay. I know you're on Harinam Sangha. I'm also on that group.
I'm in Radha Govinda.
Okay, okay, okay. No problem, Mataji. I will
At my place, all these devotees were coming before the corona.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Okay, Mataji. I will get it. No problem.
Please for me as well, if you can.
Yes, yes, Surbi Mataji. But I'll be honest with you, if you go on YouTube, I'm not, there are lovely singers on YouTube. There is Swarup Damodar Prabhu, I think. His voice is just heavenly, honestly. But yeah.
Sorry, Mataji, Hare Krishna. I'm also very new to the group, and your singing was absolutely beautiful. I would also like that. May I put my name and number on the chat group?
Yes.
So you would.
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank
Yes, but like I said, I'm telling you, there are beautiful ISKCON devotees singing on YouTube, honestly.
You sang beautiful too. So
Mataji, your voice is heavenly, just like the
Yes.
others. God give us all a voice.
Oh,
and
thank you.
it's how we use it. You used it beautiful. Thank you.
That's
lovely.
that's what Prabhupada in his lecture says, and His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says, whatever you have, if you have strength, use it for Krishna service. Like there is, sorry, if I'm taking time and people need to leave, please do leave. But you know, there's a story how devotional service could mean anything and everything. There was a servant of Mahaprabhu, and he was very, very big and strong. His name was Kashishwar Pandit. So you know what he did? He used to use his strength in order to protect Mahaprabhu when Mahaprabhu would go for darshan of Lord Jagannath. Because you know, Lord, there's always a lot of crowd and everybody would want to touch Mahaprabhu or take his darshan. And it was the responsibility of Kashishwar Pandit to see to it that nobody obstructs Mahaprabhu's darshan. So see, he was using his strength. So the whole idea is that you use whatever you have in the service of Krishna. You don't have to develop new talents, learn new things. Everybody has got something or the other which they can use for Krishna's service. Yeah.
Mother Shivan Vrindavan Prabhu has my number and I can give you now if you want. Otherwise you can take from Mukundhari Prabhu, yes. Vrindavan Prabhu.
Yes, yes. No problem, Mataji. Don't worry. I will get it. I will get it. Don't worry. Okay. Any other questions or comments on the verse? Any questions? Okay. So
it was so sweet. We don't have questions.
No, I'm glad.
Everything. Krishna's pastimes are beautiful. So
yes.
You know, we can't miss it. We're still registering it and going over it.
Yes.
In our heads. Thank you.
Yes, but please, I request all of you, please do visit the manor whenever you can and take this wonderful opportunity of getting a lot of blessings during this Karthik month. And you will just enjoy the whole atmosphere. Okay.
Yes, I know.
Thank you.
Beautiful, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Vanchakalpatrubhascha kripa
Thank you, Mataji. Beautiful.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, very much. Thank you.
Wonderful association.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.